They say at Parkland Hospital that it was really of no use to try to help the president, that he was beyond help when he reached the hospital within 5 minutes of the shooting. They said that the bullet that entered his neck came out the back of his head, and it was quite clear when...
Well, how did it happen? Who saw it happen? We have some eyewitness reports. ABC's Bill Lord interviewed some people. First, a Dallas policeman, an eyewitness to the shooting.
Jim Cheney, I understand that you were riding next to the president's car when the assassination took place. I was riding on the right rear fender of what happened. Well, we had proceeded west on Elm Street at approximately 15 to 20 miles an hour. When we heard the first shot, I thought it was a motorcycle backfiring. And I looked back over to my left, and also President Kennedy looked back over his left shoulder. Then the second shot came, I looked back just in time to see the president struck in the face by the second bullet.
President Kennedy, we are now informed, was shot in the right temple.
Well, Bob, from the point where they think the man with the gun might have been seen to where the president was actually felled, would it have been possible for him to have been struck by a bullet in the right temple?
We know that Mr. Kennedy was hit in the right temple.
It's known, of course, that the president was killed by one shot that struck him in the right temple.
He died of a gunshot wound in the brain. Dr. Berkeley told me it's a simple matter, Tom, of a bullet right through the head.
This hypothesis that the assailant was in the building I described is true, but this conflicts with the fact that the wound in the neck, the doctors say, was in the front of the neck, just below the Adam's apple.
I was having lunch in the main cafeteria in the hospital when an emergency page arrived for Dr. Tom Shires, chief of surgery. Knowing that he was presenting a paper out of town, we picked up the page. Dr. Ronald Jones, surgery resident, myself. They informed us that the president had been shot and was being brought to the emergency room. We went there immediately, and he had just been brought in. It was obvious initially that he had a severe lethal wound. Arriving at the emergency room, Dr. Carrico had placed a tube in the president's trachea to assist his breathing, but there was a neck wound anteriorly and a large wound of his head in the right posterior area.
Most of the doctors and nurses who treated the president at Parkland did see a large wound at the rear of the head. Dr. Robert McClelland.
It was in the right back part of the head, very large.
Nurse Audrey Bell.
No, there was a massive wound at the back of his head.
Dr. Charles Carrico.
There was quite a large defect about here on his skull.
Dr. Ronald Jones.
Well, my impression was that there was a wound in this area of the head, right in this area.
Dr. Paul Peters.
Right about there is where I thought the hole was. Occipital-parietal.
Dr. Kenneth Salyer.
Into the temporal parietal, back into the parietal area, this is the parietal bone right here, and this wound extended into the parietal area.
Dr. Charles Crenshaw.
And you'll hold right here on your ear to the back, and this bone that's on the back of your head is called the occiput. Right between these 2 points was the large exit wound, about 2 3/4 of an inch, the size of my fist.
Dr. Richard Delaney.
That was my remembering.